I got a surprise phone call from the police one afternoon. I was confused and worried, wondering what could have happened. They told me something that shocked me. They had found my 4-year-old daughter all alone and had taken her to safety. She was supposed to be with my husband at the amusement park. I never imagined this call would change our lives forever. My name is Karen. I'm 30 years old, work from home, and raise my daughter. I've been married to my college classmate, Andrew, for 5 years. We have a 4-year-old daughter named Jennifer. My husband is very hands-on with childcare and often takes our daughter out on his days off. He's also about to get a big promotion at work. Everything in our lives was going great, both at home and at work. Thanks to my wonderful husband and sweet daughter, life was perfect, until I got that phone call. That Saturday, my husband, who had the day off, took Jennifer to the amusement park. I was supposed to go with them, but an important work task came up at the last minute, so I had to stay behind. Jennifer was really excited about going to the park and kept telling my husband to hurry up. I smiled as I watched them hold hands and walk to the car. It was a sweet moment. "All right, have fun," I called out to them. I felt good that day, thinking it was going to be a productive one. After a little stretch, I went to my home office to get some work done. 2 hours later, as I was about to take a short break, my phone rang. I thought it might be my husband since it was around lunchtime, but the number was unknown. I answered, and to my shock, it was the police. They said they had found my daughter alone. I couldn't believe it. She was supposed to be at the amusement park with my husband. I thought it might be a prank, so I called him to check. "Hey, I need to ask you something," I said. "Sure, what's up?" he replied. "Where are you and Jennifer right now?" I asked, feeling nervous. "We're at the amusement park," he answered casually. "But the police just called me and said they found Jennifer alone." "What's going on?" I asked, my heart racing. My husband seemed surprised. "She's right here next to me, laughing," he said, sounding a bit worried. "Well, as long as you're together, that's fine," I said, trying to calm down. "I guess it was just a prank call. Can you put Jennifer on the phone?" I was tired from working and just wanted to hear my daughter's voice. "No, she says she's too embarrassed," my husband replied. I was confused. Our daughter loved calling us when we were out, and she always played phone games. There's no way she'd be embarrassed. My trust in my husband started to waver after his strange words. I thought, "Are you sure? That doesn't sound like something Jennifer would say." "Maybe Jennifer is tired too. Can we drop it now?" he replied quickly, almost like he wanted to end the conversation. But something felt off. As I listened, I realized it was too quiet on his end. No laughter, no sound of the amusement park rides. It was eerily silent. He said they were at the park, but was that really true? "I'll see you at home," I said, and he hung up. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Doubting what my husband said and feeling uneasy about the silence, I decided to check something. I remembered the GPS on my daughter's phone, something I had completely forgotten about in my confusion with the police call. I checked the GPS. It showed they were at the amusement park, where my husband and daughter were supposed to be, but why had the police called me? Worried and suspicious, I drove to the amusement park. When I got to the Lost and Found Center, I saw my daughter. She was chatting happily with the police officer, but when she saw me, she burst into tears. Dad said he'd wait for me on a bench and that I could go on any ride I wanted. I was playing, and then when I looked around, he was gone, she explained. I asked the staff for details. They told me they found my daughter wandering alone in the park. They had called out for her guardians, but got no response, so they contacted the police. Thankfully, my daughter had a tag with her address and my contact details, so they were able to reach me quickly. I couldn't understand it. My husband wasn't the type to just leave our daughter like that. Was he in some kind of trouble? The thought worried me, but I pushed it away. To calm Jennifer down, I took her out for ice cream. We went to a restaurant and ordered sundaes. While we were eating, she handed me her toy camera. It was a special gift my father had given her last month for her birthday. Even though it was just a toy, it could actually take pictures. I wondered what pictures Jennifer had taken. I turned on the camera and started looking through the photos. My heart dropped when I saw it, a picture of my husband hugging a woman I didn't recognize. More pictures like that kept appearing, and I felt sick to my stomach. "Jennifer, who is this woman?" I asked, my voice shaking. "She's a friend of Dad's," she replied. I felt like everything went dark. I remembered that my husband had cheated on me once before, when I was pregnant 5 years ago. We had reconciled because we were expecting a child. but now he was doing it again. He was using our daughter to cover it up, probably leaving her at the park while he went off with his mistress. Do you know where Dad went, Jennifer? I asked, but she shook her head, saying no. She started crying again, and through her tears, she told me that her dad had pushed her away earlier, telling her, "You're big enough to play by yourself now." I felt so sorry for my daughter. "I'm so sorry you had to go through this, sweetie," I said, taking her hand and heading home. That night, my husband rushed through the door, looking panicked. "Where have you been, and what have you been doing?" I asked, my anger clear in my voice. He noticed my tone and looked tense. "Actually, Jennifer went missing," he said. "You told me she was fine on the phone. Why did you lie?" I asked, upset. "I didn't lie, I just thought we'd find her quickly," he answered, sounding defensive. "It's been over 6 hours since that phone call," I replied. "He's probably been with his mistress this whole time." I could tell he was lying. "Don't you think it's strange you didn't hear the announcement at the park?" I asked. "How do you know about that?" he asked, looking uneasy. "The police called me when I went to pick up Jennifer at the amusement park. The staff told me everything," I said, feeling more certain of his guilt. He went silent, looking uncomfortable. He knew he couldn't deny it. Leaving our daughter alone at the park for his mistress was unforgivable. I made up my mind to get back at him. "Fine, just don't do it again," he said, looking relieved. I decided to let him think he was off the hook for now, but I had my own plan. A month later, I was in Los Angeles, not for vacation or work, but to catch my husband red-handed with his mistress. I followed them as they walked hand in hand, both looking shocked when they saw me. "What are you doing here?" my husband asked, his face full of surprise. "Weren't you supposed to be on a business trip today?" I didn't hesitate. "No, I called your office. They confirmed you took the day off." My husband looked rattled, his eyes darting around as if he was caught in a lie. "How did you even find out I was here?" he asked. I reminded him about the GPS on Jennifer's phone. "I put it in your car," I said, showing him my phone screen, which clearly showed a car parked nearby. "What? Using a handy camera is so sneaky," he said. "Who's being sneaky here?" I replied. "The only reason you'd be worried is if you have something to hide. Or is this you finally admitting it?" He got furious, almost spitting with anger. "I didn't do anything. You're blaming me." "Do you even have proof that I cheated?" he challenged, thinking he could get away with it. I didn't hesitate. "Well, about that," I said, smirking as I shoved a photo in his face. "Does this look familiar?" He stared at it. "How do you have this picture? You were supposed to be working." "Jennifer took it," I said. "Her toy camera actually works." He stood there, speechless for a moment, before scoffing. "This isn't even me. You must have mixed me up with someone else." To prove him wrong, I handed him a large stack of photos. There were so many that they nearly fell from his hands. "Okay, the toy camera doesn't take the clearest pictures, so I took these myself to make sure." His face went pale as he saw the photos clearly showing him with his lover. "How could you be so friendly with her right in front of our daughter?" I asked. "You're despicable." He tried to tear up the photos, but I had expected that. "Too bad," I said. "These are all copies. I've got the originals saved safely." "Damn you," he muttered angrily, glaring at me. He looked defeated. But I wasn't done. "You've got a big promotion coming up, don't you?" I asked. "What's your point?" he asked, his voice shaky. "How do you think spreading these photos would affect that?" I said. His face got even paler. I knew his company cared about character when choosing people for promotions. If these photos got out, it could ruin his chances. "Please don't do this," he begged. "Do you really think I'll forgive you now? I've been a good husband all this time, haven't I? Can't you forgive me for that?" "A good husband wouldn't leave his daughter at an amusement park," I replied loudly. He shrank back, clearly guilty. "I've been taking our daughter out every week lately," he said, trying to defend himself. "That was just to keep me from suspecting your affair," I shot back. He looked almost tearful now. "I'm really sorry, just please don't tell my work. I don't feel any love for you anymore," I told him. "Do you remember when you cheated on me 5 years ago, when I was pregnant?" His face tensed, sweat forming on his forehead. He knew exactly what I was talking about. "I haven't forgotten the agreement we signed," I said. I had made him sign a contract that stated if he ever cheated again, he would lose all his assets and custody rights. "No, this isn't what it looks like. It's not an affair," he said, but I could see he had no explanation. He went silent and started to cry. It was pathetic. Then go ahead and sign this, I said, handing him divorce papers. No, I don't want to break up. Who will take care of everything at home if you're gone? He begged. Staying together now is impossible, I replied. Fine, I promise no more affairs, he screamed, his eyes bloodshot, but it didn't affect me. I wasn't angry about the affair anymore. So, you're forgiving me? He asked. No, I said firmly, what I'm angry about is you putting our daughter in danger. He went silent again, tears streaming down his face. And another thing, I said, you don't have a place in anyone's life anymore. What do you mean? He asked, confused. While you were gone, I told your parents, your coworkers, and everyone in your usual hangouts about what you've done. Everyone knows now. Hearing this, my husband buried his face in his hands, full of despair. I couldn't even look at him anymore. I don't want to see your face, so make sure you fill out those papers, I said coldly. He looked up at me, his face covered in tears and snot. Like a child, I left him there and walked away. A month later, the news about his affair reached his company, and they revoked his promotion because of the agreement we had signed. He lost his assets, had to pay $220,000 in damages, and $400 a month in child support. He was struggling to make ends meet. He had to change jobs to one with a terrible work environment just to earn a higher salary. Now, he works non-stop. As for me, I moved back to my parents' house with our daughter and am doing my best as a single mom. Next year, my daughter will start preschool, and I look forward to seeing her grow.